Hi everyone. So as promised, this is the part on the Strata Management Tribunal that we didn't manage to cover in yesterday's lecture. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to finish off yesterday's lecture by discussing Strata Management Tribunal and then conclusion of yesterday's lecture. Okay. Now regarding Strata Management Tribunal, tribunal is a quasi court, meaning it's a half court system. It's almost like a court, but you will not have a judge sitting in front. Instead, you will have an officer or an adjudicator, okay, or an arbitrator sitting, heading the tribunal. And then you have two sides, yeah. You have the claimant side, and then you have the respondent side. So that is the normal format of a tribunal. And the advantage of having tribunals is you will have a quicker decision, okay, from the adjudicator or from the arbitrator, and the proceeding will be cheaper, okay, more economical, and will be less formal than a court. That's why a tribunal is favored over bringing the case or the claim to court because of the advantages of the cost advantages, time advantages, and the opportunity to represent yourself at the tribunal. So it is what is called an alternative dispute resolution. Alternative means an alternative to court. Okay. So same in this case for strata management, there is a tribunal, okay, established together with the SMA, the Strata Management Act, okay, to replace the strata management, the strata board. Okay, and it says here Strata Management Tribunal was established to adjudicate disputes in strata schemes in Peninsular Malaysia. So Peninsular Malaysia only. Primary function of the SMT is to provide alternative forums to resolve disputes on issues of strata management. So only certain issues can be brought to the SMT, to the Strata Management Tribunal, mainly involving disputes regarding strata management. And by whom? By all the stakeholders, by any stakeholders in the strata scheme. This is different from the House Buyers Claims Tribunal, whereby in the House Buyers Claims Tribunal is between the house buyer and also the developer, only two sides. But the SMT, the Strata Management Tribunal, people involved or people who can bring their claim to the tribunal are a wider range, more than the House Buyers Claims Tribunal. And the parties entitled to submit a claim, as I said earlier, there's a wider range. The developer, the purchaser, the original proprietor. Original proprietor means the landowner. Okay, landowner. JMB, MC, sub-MC, management agent. So JMB, MC, sub-MC are the management bodies, okay, together with developer. Remember I said earlier, yesterday in our lecture, okay, the management bodies can comprise two systems, right? One, before the strata title issuance, before strata title is issued, a system whereby there is a delay or the vacant possession is not given together with the strata title. The other system is when vacant possession is given together with the strata title. So the first system, yeah, under the system whereby vacant possession is given without strata title, you have three bodies. You have the developer, you have the JMB, and then you have the MC, the management corporation. And JMB is the middleman or the middle body which is going to disappear in the second system, whereby vacant possession is given together with strata title. Okay, so again, back to our lecture now. Okay, any person with registered interest including chargee, the banks and things like that. Lessee, okay. SMT hears and determines any claim provided in part 1 of the 4th schedule. So as I said earlier, the disputes, anything related to strata management. And these claims are outlined or listed in part 1 of the 4th schedule Act 757. And SMT hears claims not exceeding 250,000 ringgit. Okay, there is a monetary or financial jurisdiction of SMT in the claims that can be brought to them, not only the types of claims, but also the amount of claim and also the parties you can bring the claim to SMT. Disputes just now, the items in the part 1 of the fourth schedule include all these things, yeah, service charge arrears, meaning non-payment of the service charge, the maintenance fee is not paid, yeah, so can bring the claim to Strata Management Tribunal once the amount gets too big, big enough to be claimed in the tribunal, but maybe not big enough to bring it to court. Unsatisfactory quality of management. As I said earlier, okay, the management corporation, for instance, can comprise people without any background in property management or strata management, and even not any background in real estate. So sometimes they make wrong decisions or they make poor decisions because they are non-technical people. Even real estate people also don't have the technical know-how. Sometimes they make poor decisions. Or if you can recall the bylaws that can be bylaws is this one. It's not stated here, but actually any appeals on bylaws made by the committee can also be can also be claimed or can also be disputed at the Strata Management Tribunal. Then defect repairs by the developer. Remember the defect liability period, 24 months after the delivery of vacant possession or CCC, whichever is earlier. Okay, so defect repairs, if not undertaken by developer, then the proprietor or the MC or the JMB can bring the case to Strata Management Tribunal. Annulment of AGM. Say there are decisions made in the AGM, not enough quorum, or the comprehensive resolution did not meet the requirement of 2/3 of the share units aggregate, right? So if those things happen, a claim may be made at the Strata Management Tribunal to annul, annul means to revoke, to cancel the validity of the AGM, and together with it, all of the decisions made, all of the resolutions made at the AGM. Then dispute among strata owners regarding leakage. Leakage is a very normal or very common problem in a strata scheme. So it's not just limited to residential strata, condos, apartments and things like that, but also to commercial strata, offices, for instance, who's in charge of repairing the leakage. Sometimes the upstairs, the above proprietor will challenge, saying that the cost should be borne equally between himself and also the unit downstairs, because of the fact that the pipe may be located in between in the middle of the floor slab, for instance. Middle of floor slab means half belonging to the ceiling of the downstairs owners, half belonging to the floor of the upstairs owners. Renovation plan. Renovation plan disputes normally by either one. Maybe the MC has applied for renovation to common areas, and proprietors are not happy with it, so they can claim at the SMT. Conversely, there are some owners who may build in in the common areas in front of their units, for instance, erecting a garage or something on the ground floor, for instance, or covering their balcony, for instance, right? GMB can claim that in that, but actually there are another avenue for this one besides going to SMT. Actually, if there's any development, illegal development undertaken, that can be brought to the local authority, to the building unit under illegal renovation or illegal building work. Now, who can claim? Just now we mentioned developer, the buyer, the proprietor, MC, management agent, any interested party as decided by the Strata Management Tribunal. Okay, whoever who has interest or feel that they have interest, they may write a claim. Write a letter, or they may ask for leave from the SMT to be heard at the SMT. And if the Strata Management Tribunal agrees, then they can proceed with their claim. Now, this is the procedure. You can see that the flow chart, okay, beginning with filing of Form 1. Form 1 always is the trigger of the claim at the Strata Management Tribunal. So the person or either developer, buyer, proprietor, MC, management agent, or any interested party, whoever who files the claim is known as the claimant. So because he's the one who claims at the Strata Management Tribunal. And the other party, the opposite party, is known as the respondent. Okay. So the claimant files Form 1 with SMT, and what can be done later on is the respondent can admit to the claim, admit, not guilty, admit that the claimant is right. Admit that he's willing to do whatever is being claimed by the claimant. So admits to the claim in Form 2. Okay. And there will be made an order in Form 8 that respondent admits, and that's it, full stop. Okay, that is the end of the story. You don't need to go through the whole hearing process, because there is admission now. There is an agreement by the respondent to carry out whatever work or whatever requirement is being asked by the claimant in Form 1, full stop. Then another response would be counterclaim by the respondent. Okay, for instance, just now claimant is the MC. MC claims that the respondent didn't pay. There's a default in payment amounting to 2,000 ringgit for 1.5 years worth of service charge, for instance. And then the proprietor, the owner of the unit or the parcel may counterclaim that the MC has not undertaken their duties properly. So that could be the counterclaim in Form 2. Okay, Form 2. Then, or it can also be what do you call it? From one proprietor to another proprietor. So whatever is the answer, okay, can be claimed as counterclaim. Can be filed as counterclaim in Form 2 by the respondent. If you have any defense, regarding the claim being made. Then finally, another response would be no response at all, no counterclaim in Form 2. Okay, so the Form 2 is being left vacant, no counterclaim. But just now, the effect, or not the effect, actually what can be done if there's a counterclaim, the claimant can give his defense to the counterclaim in Form 3. So there's a claim, there's a counterclaim, there's a defense to the counterclaim to be filed in Form 3. Then the proceeding will start. So for both cases, whether there is a counterclaim or no counterclaim, the SMT secretary, the Strata Management Secretary, will classify either the claim falls under negotiation or it falls under hearing. Okay, negotiation means you don't go through the you don't go in front of the arbitrator or to the officer. Okay, but it's just a two-sided negotiation. Maybe with an arbitrator, not hearing, not a hearing, not a proper hearing. So if the case falls under negotiation, so both parties will negotiate whether will be resolved the claim. If it's resolved, there will be a settlement order. Order means a tribunal order. It's not a court order, tribunal order, but the effect of the tribunal order is mandatory. It binds both parties. Okay. If the effect of the negotiation is the claim is not resolved. Not resolved means there's no agreement between those parties, the claimant and also the respondent. The case will be brought to the hearing. Hearing like a court hearing. Both parties come. One party will state his claim. The other party will give his defense, and there will be back and forth, and then the adjudicator or the arbitrator will listen to both sides, will ask questions, and then will make an award in Form 11. Okay, so it's quick because both parties are not required. Actually, in some cases, we can say not just not required, but not allowed. But actually, they are allowed. Not encouraged not encouraged to bring lawyers, but they can actually. They can, because sometimes maybe you do not have the ability to speak, right? The ability to speak properly, or you're not able to speak convincingly, so you feel that having a lawyer friend may help your case. So you can ask to be represented. Now we go. So it's just easy. 2 slides on the Strata Management Tribunal. Now summary. I would encourage you to read the paper that I provided in Spectrum if you want to know more about the Strata Management Tribunal. Now, summary of improvements under SMA that we have been discussing. One, improvements in the provisions for the MC and management of the Strata scheme is more streamlined, more detailed. More detail, for instance, what happens when the MC, the management corporation, fails to elect a management committee, for instance. Or what happens when, what is the handover period, because before under the under the SMT, under the Strata Titles Act and also the BCPA laws or statute, they fail to detail out the handover period. What is the method of handover between from developer to JMB, for instance, from JMB to MC, for instance. It was not stated. Unlike the SMA now, whereby it says within 1 month of the first AGM of the JMB, for instance, handover must be completed, or within 1 month of the first AGM of the MC, handover from JMB or from developer must be completed. So it is these details were not present under the old system under TA and also under this PA, but they are available under the current SMA. At least it's more objective. There is a definitive timeline, a definitive deadline when the next management body takes effect. The second one is strengthening of the COB. Now, as what we have discussed earlier, COB now has more power. They have the power to attach movable properties, for instance, in the case of in the case of if they receive any reports from the MC, from the management body, that there are defaulters, a serious case of defaults, non-payment of service charge or maintenance fees in their case, because that will affect the management of the Strata scheme. So what COB can do is they can come to the Strata scheme and then they can enter into the defaulters unit. They are given the power and the SMA. They can attach the power of attachment gives them the ability to take away all the movable properties and then auction them off, and later on from the proceeds the money will be given to the management bodies to enable the management bodies to undertake their strata management properly, for instance. And then, the policing powers of COB given under SMA. Previously, it was not given. Establishment of the Strata Management Tribunal, as what we have just discussed, which resolve a lot of complaints or disputes or claims from stakeholders in any Strata scheme. So these forms a quicker way, a more effective way of resolving disputes within Strata schemes. And it is very important, especially for residential strata, to have a harmonious environment for people to live in, a conducive environment where the neighbors are not in conflict with each other without any resolution. So as the Strata Management Tribunal is an outside party that gives an opportunity for the strata community to live together harmoniously, because they know there is an outside body that can settle their dispute. If there's any dispute, a third party who is neutral, not the MC, for instance. MC, if you have any complaints against the MC, how can you expect the MC to resolve the dispute or to resolve the issues? It needs to be from outside. And the power is like a court, but less than a court lah. So Strata Management Tribunal is the perfect body to resolve those kinds of conflicts or disputes. Improvements in the strata title issuance procedure. As we said earlier, the main intention now is for the vacant possession to be delivered together with strata title. So now, superstructure stage, within 3 months of certification, you can apply, or the developer can apply for strata title, for the subdivision of the strata scheme, the end result of which are strata titles lah. So it will be quicker process of strata title issuance, hopefully. Improvement. Enhance certainty in the issue of strata scheme, I go back to number 4 just now. So together with that, in what sense is the strata title issuance procedure improved? For instance, the introduction of the formula for calculation of the share units, the schedule of parcels, for instance, the CPSP, for instance. Before, it was not disorganized. But for now, the developers have all these, at least they have in black and white, the requirements, what must be fulfilled before they can apply for strata title issue. So now it's more black and white, more detailed, more transparent, especially in the sense, in terms of the share unit calculations. Enhance certainty in the issue of strata titles and prevent undue changes in strata scheme. As we said earlier, the developers now are prevented from declaring later on that common properties are developers' units, it's not possible anymore under the current system with the SOP, which needs to be filed at the COP. The developer cannot manipulate the system any longer, not as before. Then promote certainty on the allocation of share units. As I said earlier, the share units are available to potential buyers when they are contemplating buying, and not like the last time. Only when they receive their strata title, then only they know their share units. Now that is not the case. Now, from the onset, from the beginning, when they are contemplating buying the new units, they know what is the share units that they are going to have from their parcel. Improvements in enforcement and penalties. I said earlier as well in our lecture, we mentioned that how now what we call the defaulters. Last time was only civil suits, but now can face criminal charges. So that is a more serious offence under criminal suits rather than criminal charges rather than civil suits. Okay. Establishment of maintenance and sinking fund accounts. Okay, maintenance and sinking fund accounts. This was discussed in detail by Ms. Surya yesterday. Remember when she said that for strata scheme, there needs to be only one maintenance fund, one sinking fund account, but for sub MC, you have one each for the sub MC. So one set each for each sub MC, and also for the MC. So for instance, in the case of Mont Kiara yesterday, you have 4 sets of accounts. Yeah, one for each sub MC, and then one for the large or the main MC. Finally, provision for the appointment of managing agents. We also mentioned this yesterday. When the management committee failed to be formed, or the management committee failed to perform their duties, and the COB can appoint managing agents. Normally, registered property managers, meaning those property managers registered with the Board of Valuers, Appraisers, Estate Agents, and property managers. So now the Board of Valuers is known as the Board of Valuers, Appraisers, Estate Agents, and property managers. So they add another portfolio, another profession under the board, which is property managers. This was introduced at PM. It was introduced to the board together with the SMA, Strata Management Act. A grace period of 1 year was given, I think in 2015, 16, 17, and then I think they even extended the period for previously before non-registered. There was no requirement for registration of property managers before, but with the approval of SMA together with the amendment to the Valuers Act 1981. Okay, now only registered property managers can come in and become letting agents. Okay, grace period was given to enable people from non-real estate background who has become property managers before to register with the board, regardless of their first degree. For instance, you have lawyers who practice as property managers who now become licensed or registered property managers under the board because of the fact that they took advantage of the grace period. They require, I think, 10 years required past tense, because now is no longer available the grace period. 10 years experience in property management. So now if you want to become a property manager, sorry, a registered property manager, okay, you have to undergo the requirement as set out by the Board of Valuers. You have to sit for the TPC, you have to go for the TPC requires what do you call it? Interviews, completing your logbook, your assignment, and then I think they are trying to come up with a scheme with an examination whereby for people without degree in real estate, they can take their exam to get a certificate first before they can do their okay. Next, okay, new regime for strata development under SMA from planning permission, from getting the planning permission until the sale. So this is the new regime, beginning with the development order of planning permission with conditions or without conditions. Yeah. So who gives the development order, or who's in charge of development order or planning permission? It is with the local authority. I remember the 4 types of approvals that need to be obtained at the before you can conduct any development in Malaysia. Okay, the submission at the OSC at local authority. So this is one of it. The development order KL or planning permission in other states. Planning permission approval from the local authority. After that, you need to get the approval for building plans prepared by the PSP. Okay, 3 professions. The PSP in Malaysia. Then you go and get the SIFUS, the Sijil Formula Unit Share. So it is the certificate of the unit share calculation that must be presented to the Office of Lands and Mines and get their approval. Okay, and they will issue this certificate. Okay, certificate when together with the documents that they require. Then schedule of parcels need to be filed at the COB, and finally only you'll be able to conduct, or you'll be able to sell the parcels, the strata parcels. Okay, so quite a few things that need to be settled if you undertake strata development commission. So this is it. Okay, I think that's all. But if you need any more information, please find some useful videos, which are prepared for the undergraduates. Those are available on my channel. Okay, so that's it from me. We'll see you next week. Okay, don't forget our mock examination. Okay, so that's it. Bye bye.